Hello and welcome back, everybody, to Chicago Clash. It is time for the finals. Oh my gosh, I'm super excited, and we've got a heater again. A deck that a lot of people wrote off, didn't really have a lot of hope in for this post rotation.
I certainly didn't.
I certainly didn't either. I don't even know how this matchup goes, but I'm very excited to see it. Before we get into it, though, we're just going to show the bracket really quickly to give a full picture of what happened today. So yeah, in the semifinals, Tyler falling to Michael Davidson, who's about to play the Gardevoir deck, and yeah, Gardevoir somehow got a lot of wins and did things that people didn't really expect it to do. And it's one of those things where people probably didn't fully test against it because they kind of wrote it off and also just weren't really practiced against it either. And then, yeah, Hector taking the win there against Josh. Josh having some pretty unfortunate draws towards the end there, but still made it through. And we're going to see Gardevoir versus, it's actually going to be against Chien-Pao. Gardevoir versus Chien-Pao, which seems rough, potentially.
It does seem Chien-Pao favored. I mean, that's how the matchup historically has gone, but we do know that Hector does not have Cologne access, so that could potentially play a part in Michael's victory here. We see that concealed cards going for 2, memory skip rods coming down. Interesting that Michael is still playing that memory skip rods, but I guess it could be relevant in some weird edge case scenarios against Charizard or Alolan Vulpix or what have you. Hector actually starting 3 basics for some reason. I guess there's no reason not to at this point.
I guess not, no.
And
you know there's no grabber or anything, but it doesn't really matter.
No grabber, no iron bundle or anything like that.
Yeah, I guess iron bundle is technically relevant.
So Michael having not the best start. One Ralts, not
that used to
so
be
great.
like totally
used to be
fine. Yeah.
Yes, used to be fine because
depending on attachments and stuff. But Mirage Step Curlier has rotated out, and now you get these weirder starts with Michael. But the game in general is kind of slowed down in a lot of matchups, and so it works out probably okay most of the time.
One Arven could fix it because then you can get the evolution TM.
Yeah, TM Evo huge. And we saw Michael win a game just by double TM Evoing.
Right.
Even though the game was like. Technically should have been pretty far behind, but was able to replenish the Curlias. Ooh.
We saw Michael actually refinement away the Drifloon and draws Arven Poffin, showing it to Hector, who reacts. And I think this is basically exactly what Michael needed, because now you can grab 2 Ralts and then get that Arven to get you your Earthen Vessel and your Evolution TM. And suddenly you have 3 Curlias ready to go to set up for plays in the future. But we do need to see the mana fee. So I guess we can't grab 2 Curlias just yet unless Michael has another way to find other Ralts.
Yeah, he did have a pretty decent hand built up. We'll see. It looks like there's an Ultra Ball there, too.
Okay. So Arven for Vessel Evolution. Do we play the Ultra Ball this turn? Vessel away Turo makes a lot of sense here. Not really super useful in this matchup. Could come in some niche scenarios, but not useful right now, at least. Has to be pitched away for the Vessel, and now Michael has to consider, are there resources in hand to be able to discard with that Ultra Ball to grab another Ralts? Is it possible?
Yeah, the Ultra Ball is the only out here for Michael. Can discard one of the energies at least.
Evolution
He's going to conceal cards first to get some more cards going.
There's an Evolution TM in the discard, by the way. Production and Judges that should be in the hand, if I'm not mistaken. I believe the Turo was discarded off of Earthen Vessel and the Ultra Ball hasn't been played yet. So Evolution TM mistakenly in the discard right now for Michael. I think he's realizing it.
About it. Yeah.
I think he's realizing it now.
Should pick up on it. Yep, we found it. Cool.
There we go.
Lost and found. It has been found. So, did get to see their hands, both their hands there. I did not actually see anything because I was focused on the TM Evolution.
That's okay.
Oh, okay. We're seeing it again.
Go. Thank you, Hector. We see. I think that's the Arctivax.
Yeah, it's hard to tell because of the fancy art, but we were talking about this earlier too. How Arctivax just kind of like cheese proofs yourself for a bunch of random things that you might run into.
Yeah,
and
in some cases,
burns less rare candies in general.
That's true.
But yeah, we're going to see the TM Evo here. We're going to see those 2 Ralts evolve right on up. We're going to have a nice 3 Curlias rolling pretty early here.
The fact that Chien-Pao doesn't have Cologne really hurts in this situation. Cologne could basically devastate Michael's board and end the game almost on the spot. Not fully, but almost, I would say. In fact, that's not going to be an option, though. So the next best option, I guess, would be Iron Hands this turn, and maybe hope that Michael doesn't have a good response for it. Could see here if that's the choice.
Yeah, what are the easiest options for the Iron Hands response here? Is it just
has to be
Bravery Charm plus any either of the 2, right?
Bravery Charm plus one of the 2
Scream Tail or Drifloon is what we're referring to, yeah. So doesn't need to go super heavy with the tool.
You do need enough energies to be able to Iron Hands, and that is probably the most difficult part, given that Michael hasn't really gotten a chance to discard very many at this point yet.
Right.
So we see Hector as a caster, have to work hard to relearn all the damage numbers again. How many energies you need to knock out different Pokemon. It's changed. It's not the same as it used to be.
And now Balloon Blast is actually relevant, so
Balloon
I have to
Blast
think through
is
things more.
relevant, yeah.
It is more damage for less energy.
It is, yeah.
Can potentially get those big knockouts even without a big energy discard pile.
So you need, I believe, 8 damage counters to do 240 to knock out hands. So you would need 4 Psychic Embraces.
Not too bad. Not too intense.
That's definitely doable.
But you also need the tool to make sure you hit that number.
So you need probably Arven.
And the Iron Hands is coming down here for Hector. It looks like that is the line that he would like to go down. Rare Candy, the backs. Super Cold is now online. And yeah, not sure if all the other pieces are there lined up for Hector right now. Can't quite see the hand.
There's no Bidoof or Bibarel in play right now.
That's kind of the scary thing here.
We see Earthen Vessel, so Hector has a play this turn, but Gardevoir, normally the play is to kind of countercatcher, knock up Bibarel, and that's kind of your line of winning. Unfortunately for Hector, these Bibarels are kind of like automatically knocked out. They're already knocked out to begin with because they don't exist on the board. Yeah. So,
I mean, maybe intentionally too, not benching them to prevent that line from
that can't
happening.
be it. That can't be it because I think that you don't want to knock them out yourself. You'll at least force your opponent to have to deal with them. In this case,
it's super easy to retreat too. It's not a big deal.
Yes.
You don't have anything like Mawile on this list or anything wacky like that. So Kirlia coming up now. I imagine that'll evolve or at least retreat pretty soon here. And then it just needs Screamtail plus Charm, Drifloon plus Charm. So with Screamtail, it would need 5 would be 100. It's not enough.
Yeah, it
needs
would need
7
to be,
energy.
It would need to be 7.
Oh, that's so much, right? 140. No, 280. No. So 6.
6 energy or 120 damage.
Right.
So Drifloon is probably the better option as we see Michael Super Rod that back into deck and then play the Arven to grab potentially a Nest Ball plus that Bravery Charm. We do need to still find the Gardevoir EX, but I feel it is getting closer and closer. 1 Gardevoir EX and 1 Ultra Ball is prize, so it could potentially be difficult to find. Poffen will grab the Drifloon, but Michael thinking about maybe grabbing Ultra Ball potentially? No, just grabbing the Poffen, getting that Ralts and Drifloon. So has to find the Gardevoir EX still. That is what
and more
we need.
energy still, right? I don't think there's
I think a little bit more energy.
I think it might just be 1 more actually, but
so we're close on both counts, but still has to find it.
The fact that Drifloon has 70 HP, I didn't really process how nice that is for this deck with Buddy Poffen. It's super nice because normally a lot of these other attackers you just have no way of searching them out, and that is one that you certainly can get out no problem. So we're starting with some refinements here. I believe that was a Vessel. Yeah,
a Vessel and a
easily
Poffen.
have the energy now. Yeah.
So I wonder if Michael actually should have saved the Arven until the refinements were done. Maybe he already has Gardevoir EX in hand and Ultra Ball in hand, in which case it's fine to Arven first. But if Michael does miss the Ultra Ball, it's because the Arven wasn't played later on in the turn.
Or the Vessel's going down. We're going to see some more energy hit the discard pile thanks to that refinement ability. Drawing 2 cards, and there's the Ultra Ball. So, and plenty of energy with the discard now.
But we did see Arven grab the Evolution TM and not Bravery Charm, so I imagine the Bravery Charm is already in hand.
I think I saw one. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Yep. Bravery Charm going down on the Drifloon. And now Balloon Blast can hit all the way up to, let's see, 100, 300 damage? Is that, am I doing the math right?
This is too much.
That's a lot
of
300, damage.
It's 360, I think.
With a Bravery Charm?
Because you can put 12 on the... Oh, you can put.
No, you can't put 12.
Put 10.
It has to be 10. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can put. Yeah, with a Bravery Charm, you can do up to 300.
That's ridiculous, dude.
This Drifloon is a big hitter. Any Drifloon fans in the chat, make sure to put your Drifloon emojis. I'm sure May has some.
I'm sure Cora May, our head producer, has them. And that Iron Hands is going down now. So Michael now able to respond to that hands threat, and now Hector again without the canceling clone, you kind of just look like, well, I guess I want to try to do that again, but that's a lot of resources and really hard to do.
And no barrel means that there's no additional draw power. There's not much you can do in this case, and being tied on prizes is exactly where Gardevoir wants to be. This early on the game,
there's the Doof.
There's Bidoof. So the draw power could come online as early as next turn, but for now, Hector will have to play without it. Looks like that might be Superior Energy Retrieval being played for 4 energies. We might just have to see Moonlight Shuriken for 1 prize. Gardevoir's biggest weakness in the format right now is that Lost Vacuum. You can imagine this Drifloon has 8 damage counters on it, so if you Lost Vacuum away that Bravery Charm, you get to take 1 prize basically for free, right? Unfortunately, this Chien-Pao deck has no room for cards like Lost Vacuum.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's the thing that's been a factor that a lot of people are worried about when thinking about playing Gardevoir. It's like, oh, well, the deck kind of folds to like a well-timed Lost Vacuum. They just take a free prize, and that kind of sucks. But not every deck runs it. And one of the best decks, Chien-Pao, does not run it. So
that is true.
And this matchup works out pretty well, and there's no way for Hector to capitalize on all the damage counters the way like Tyler was able to with the Valiants or just or Fluttermane damage spreading, nothing like that. So just has to hit with the full force, hits with the Moonlight Shuriken, goes down to 3 prizes. And now Michael can try to potentially take a 2-prize knockout on the Chien-Pao, could basically just do whatever and still be in a good position here.
Something funny to note is that this Bidoof is actually safe for Screamtail because Screamtail's Roaring Scream does damage to your opponent's bench Pokemon, and Bidoof has that Carefree Countenance ability, and that protects Bidoof from damage done to it by attacks as long as it's on the bench. But Barrel, however, the actual real star, the real support Pokemon, is not safe from Screamtail. So for now,
there it is, the
Screamtail.
Screamtail
Screamtail coming through. And there's also a Manaphy in play anyway, so it's doubly safe, so Barrel would be safe as well. In this case, Michael, I guess, would be eyeing down something like a counter catcher Iono play onto that Bidoof. I think that's probably the strongest play Michael would have access to, but has to draw into the pieces, of course.
Yep.
We were talking a little bit about this downstairs before this match, but counter catcher Iono, exactly what we were saying. And can do that play multiple times in this game. This is the first of many, potentially. But we were saying a little bit downstairs that Gardevoir is weaker in some ways. Of course, you don't have that Shining Arcana Gardevoir. You don't have those reversal energies to kind of bounce back. You lose a lot of pieces, but in some ways, the deck feels a little bit stronger counterintuitively because you're not using your Kirlia engine to attack your opponent.
Right,
you're using other attackers like the Driftling, like the Screamtail. So throughout the game, you have so much more draw power than you're used to.
And if you're not using those tools on those attackers, you can still use them to just buff up your engine. You know, you can make them stronger. You can throw a Hero's Cape on Kirlia if you just really need to, and it's not going to die anytime soon in a lot of matchups. So being really careful with it, being really smart with it. And we're going to see a bunch of damage go down on the Screamtail thanks to the Psychic Embrace ability, and it's just going to take out the Bidoof KO.
Bidoof gone now. Hector going back to no Bidoof, only 3 cards in hand off the Iono, no Pokestop in play, so not many cards to work with. Now, tied in prizes yet again.
Yeah, something we haven't talked too much about is the fact that these Chien-Pao lists, you see a lot of hand disruption in general with a lot of these lists today, but Chien-Pao is a list that notoriously does very little hand disruption because of how much it usually needs to spam Iono, or Irida.
Yes.
So you're only really seeing like 1 Iono in these lists, and that just means Michael just has all the time in the world to build up for Chien-Pao Gus next turn to clean up the game, and can just do whatever until then.
We do see Irida this turn for Superior and Frigiback, so we will at least go down to 2 prizes, and that does mean that Hector is in striking distance of winning the game. Just a Prime Catcher plus Chien-Pao away.
Yep.
But without a barrel, that's really a tall order. You need so many different pieces in your hand. And if there were 2 barrels in play, I'd say wrap it up. Hector is going to win this game, but that's just not the case. There's no Bidoof at all, so...
Yeah. And Michael could even KO the Chien-Pao, make things even harder this next turn.
Michael could KO the Chien-Pao, could KO the Baxcalibur. There's lots of options here. Even KOing the Greninja could be kind of awkward for Hector.
Another Bidoof comes down. Didn't quite see if there was like an easily available B-Barrel in hand or not, but having the option at least will be very useful if it survives the next turn.
Yes.
Michael looked at the discard pile.
Counting
all the energy coming out of there.
Of course. There is an element of, hey, if my opponent has discarded extra rare candies, maybe want to target Baxcalibur instead of the Bidoof. I think in this case, only 1 rare candy has been used, so might just target the Bidoof yet again. Concealed cards coming through. 3 prizes. Again, the lack of Cologne at some point makes this matchup way closer than it should be.
Are we going to see the Frigiback's attack? It's happening. The tackle for 30, I believe, is what that art is. That should be the 60 HP one, right? Or is it the other one?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, yeah, so it's going to do tackle for 30, which is exactly enough to knock out this Screamtail. So leaving 1 prizer in the active, just mostly making it harder for Michael to take an actual meaningful KO here without doing any kind of dust, because obviously if there isn't any gusting happening. Hector is totally fine with losing this Frigibax.
Right.
So
Hector didn't really want to lose a Ninja
yep.
or the Bidoof or anything really on the board except for the Ridgeback. So the play makes a lot of sense here. Back on over to Michael's turn. Has to find Countercatcher Iono again. Ideally, that would be the Hector sorting out the discard pile for him. But I think most players like the organizing it themselves. Michael choosing to grab the discard pile, and I think has to get back a Drifloon maybe.
Yeah, definitely wants to recycle the Scream Tail and the Drifloon. I think it's just 1/1 of each, right?
Yeah, I think so, with the heavy ball.
With the heavy ball. So both of those are going to be going back into the deck here. And yeah, I'm not sure how much Gust really is remaining for Michael right now. Obviously, Countercatcher is active again. Yes. If there's another one available, there's a boss, at least one. And
I can check.
Think it has not been used yet. So Vic is checking the list. We'll get up-to-date information momentarily. So we're going down and then a nest ball here, so we can go ahead and get back one of those Pokemon we just rotted back in. And yeah, we'll see what line Michael goes down here. Going to go grab that Scream Tail. Not sure what tools are available in the hand for Michael. But if the tools are available, then any KO really is an option here.
Michael is running 2 Countercatcher and 1 Boss's Orders.
Okay, so that's like the pretty normal.
Yes, so there's 2 more Gust available, but really you want to be able to combo the Gust with Iono, so really there's only 1 good Gust available. But speaking of potential win conditions, Michael actually attaching the Hero's Cape to the Gardevoir EX.
Yeah.
And that actually stops Hector from being able to knock it out for 2 prizes to end the game right then and there.
Yeah, especially without a Bidoof, a B-Barrel down. It's so much harder now because you need so much,
just way
ridiculous
too many
amount of energy. Yeah. And that kind of forces Hector down the 1/1 prize route now.
Yes, it does. And
especially
that gives
after that
Michael time to take a 1 prize knockout here and then maybe close out the game after onto that Chien-Pao.
We'll see if Michael actually did get a Countercatcher here. I don't think so.
We've seen Michael do this kind of play a couple times where normally the Hero's Cape is used as a damage modifier, right? To make sure that your Scream Tail and your Drifloon can reach those big numbers without being something like a luxurious cape and maybe sacrificing it. You don't really want your Drifloon to be a 2 prizer if you can avoid it. And Hero's Cape does that for you, but we've seen it time and time again from Michael, this heads-up play of using Hero's Cape to kind of remove win conditions from your opponent as well, instead of using it as a damage mod. And in this case, it's going to do that just splendidly.
Yeah, Hero's Cape is a spec that has actually seen a lot of play today.
It has. And it hasn't really won too many games yet, at least for the Zard decks I've been playing.
It's been great for Guardy.
But it's been really good for Guardy. It fits pretty well into the deck, especially given that it is multi-purpose, which kind of gives it the power it needs to compete with the other ace specs in the format. Hero's Cape on that Gardevoir EX, I think that's just too much to deal with. Pokestop, I mean, technically Hector has enough energy to, I guess it has to be Iron Hand. Iron Hand is probably the more likely win condition at this point, but even that's tough. We see the Prime Catcher, but Barrel getting this card did already, and Barrel's kind of exactly what Hector needed, unfortunately.
Yeah, again, Hector is using just a proxy of a great catcher for a prime catcher. Totally fine, just so you know. So the simple looking great catcher was in fact a prime catcher. Can be used to gust up something as an item. Super useful, super powerful.
Super Rod with the next card. Hector frustrated that the win condition was right there, just 1 card away, but Super Rod plus Nest Ball plus Superior Energy Retrieval would get Hector there, but those barrels were targeted all game, so Hector is just a little bit short from being able to win this one. And Michael, it will be his initiative. Hector thinking about the win conditions. He knows that he can't win this turn, but can Michael win next turn? And I think it's not guaranteed. I think Michael has to find Gust somewhere, and I don't think I see it in hand yet. And of course, they're tied on prizes, so if Hector doesn't take a KO, that leaves Michael with only 1 Gust in deck, and you can't use Supporter to find Boss's Orders. So
yeah, very interesting line you want to go down here then.
I think you can't take a knockout. I think that has to be the play.
And yeah, just hope you don't get disrupted again. And you can somehow build up enough energy in hand.
I guess so.
That is tough. So what is it? So it's at 410 right now. So you need it's only 7 energy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean Iron Hands might be easier, depending on if you find a Super Rod, I guess.
Sure. So we're seeing the Superior on
but here's the danger, right? Hector, even if Michael can't win, No, I guess this back caliber is safe from anything except boss's orders. And if you do have boss's orders, you just win the game anyway.
Sure.
So there's no way for Michael to really disrupt Hector unless he can win on the spot. So this match is getting really close. It's coming down to the wire. We see the prime
catcher come online.
Onto Curlia. What
will Hector send up here? Yeah, has to decide what is going up. Sending up the Doof.
How did the Chien-Pao switch, by the way?
Prime catcher.
Oh, yes. Okay, Prime Catcher was played. I forgot about that. So Prime Catcher...
that was a Hyper Fang. That was an attempted Hyper Fang.
Bringing up the
for 30 days.
Hyper Fanging for 30. I don't know why the energies were attached, to be honest.
Yeah.
I guess the option here is if you do hit the Hyper Fang, this Curlia can't retreat unless you evolve it.
Right.
But you could just wave... You could just Rain Splash for the same thing, right?
Yeah, because Manaphy doesn't really matter if you are trying to just win next turn, right?
Yeah.
Although that might not happen because of how things, if depending on how Michael's turn shakes out. So I guess leaving that option open and preventing you from losing that way is justifiable. But seeing refinement here, Buddy Puffin got the Luxurious Cape, which has not been seen yet this game, but is a very relevant, very powerful tool card for buffing up the damage. So the damage and the Scream Tail are there, ready to go to knock out a Chien-Pao. It's just a matter of getting that Gust. And Iono again, so and no tool attachment there.
This Bidoof is going to go down, unfortunately. In the best case scenario, the Bidoof goes down, to be honest.
Refinement away the Rare Candy. Getting Gardevoir EX and something else. And we see the Psychic Embrace. Scream Tail does come up now. Yeah, honestly, a head sit on the Bidoof could have mattered.
It could have,
yeah.
But I'm confused as to why the Wave Splash didn't come through.
Rain Splash.
Rain Splash.
Yeah.
Rain Splash. Wave Veil, Rain Splash.
Sure. But yeah, with that Iono, it is pretty hard for Hector to win this turn now. Has to get so many cards going.
Yes.
Just to make it work. And yeah, that honestly, I think the Rain Splash gamble is more worth it just to give you the option for a Rebarrel to come online this turn,
yes,
right?
The Bibarel could have come online. Michael would have had no way to retreat the Curlia without evolving into Gardevoir EX. And had Michael evolved, that would potentially give another Gardevoir EX as an option to win the game if Hector has something like a counter catcher available still.
Yeah, and it's still not over. I think, depending on what the draws are here, Hector is going to promote the Chien-Pao.
It's possible.
Yeah, like, honestly, there's a chance that Hector just attacks with the Chien-Pao, and then Michael can't Gust and can't do an actual response at that point, because down to one prize now, so no counter catcher play. Might be able to buy enough time here. You're going to hit the Pokestop. Let's see it. Ultra Ball,
and Bibarel.
Poor Bibarel.
So the Ultra Balls don't really do much here.
Right.
Normally they're pretty good to thin out. Oh, we see a Super Rod, but
and an Irida.
Is that enough?
That gets a hands KO, right? Yeah. It depends on how much energy is in the deck, I guess, because you need enough to retreat.
You can Super Rod, Iron Hand, and 2 water. You can Shivery Chill for the 2 water, but I don't know if you have enough to play Ultra Ball. So you have to
your hand's pretty thin.
You have to Irida for Superior plus a water Pokemon. I don't know if you have any water Pokemon left in deck, but you do need the 2 waters back.
Well, Concealed is still there too, right?
Okay.
So Shivery Chill, Concealed here, get the +1 card.
Oh, actually, you could have. There was 1 water energy in deck already, so you could have put a water Pokemon to grab Irida, grab a water Pokemon off Irida. Now I don't know if there are any left in the deck. Maybe Arctibax is in deck, I think.
It might be.
Superior plus Arctibax. Oh.
Hyper Blower.
That works.
The Iron Bundle Goat coming down here.
And then you can Ultra Ball away Bundle and Candy for Iron Hands. Or Ultra Ball away. Yeah.
Bundle very messy board here for Hector, but
it's not guaranteed.
We see the line,
Hector has to. Oh, you can Ultra Ball. You can Ultra Ball find another Pokemon, but is there another Pokemon in deck? No. You have to Ultra Ball for the Iron Hand. So there's not enough cards for it to be guaranteed. You have to Concealed first.
Yeah.
And if you Concealed first, you don't have necessarily enough energy to attack.
Oh, man. All right, the Concealed is coming down. Playing with the open hand here because Hector knows the game is over if the win doesn't happen here.
There's not enough energy. Not anymore.
All right.
Ultra Ball gets you hands, but you can't retreat this Chien-Pao out of the active. You're 1 energy short from winning the game here.
Man. Ultra Balling away the Buddy Hoffman and the Ultra Ball. Gonna grab that hands, putting it in the hand for now. Thinking about it. Ah, man, this is so weird.
There's nothing to do here.
Right. Yeah, just like Iona's a pretty good card, and without B-Barrel to recover from it. Yeah, literally just being a smidge short here, it looks like.
So close, yet so far. Hector, at this point, is just burning time, but really wants to make sure that he's not missing something in this case. I think you kind of have to just maybe take the knockout with something.
With Chien-Pao, and then
Chien-Pao,
yeah, just hope for not having a response or a gust. Getting all the energy. It's going to be lightning and 3 waters. And yeah, it's just going to knock out the Screamtail and hope for the best here. Michael just needs 1 gust in order to lock up the game. Going to play the Arven, Cape, and Drifloon, so that also works. So yeah, can just Cape the Drifloon, Balloon Blast for the easy knockout on the Chien-Pao. And Michael goes up game 1 here on the finals for Chicago Clash. That was a stressful, tense ending to that game.
Keeps doing it. I don't know.
Maybe people should stop downing it. I don't know.
Even downstairs, we were talking. I interviewed Michael.
Yeah.
I talked to him after the fact, right before these finals in the basement. Are you considering Gardevoir for EUIC? And he says, no, not really. I'm not really considering it. I don't think it's that good, but it just keeps winning. It just keeps winning.
I literally was saying the same thing to him, and it's cool to see it do well. A deck that a lot of people wrote off. But before we get into the next game, I want to do a quick shout out to our sponsors. Chicago Clash is brought to you by Dead Draw Gaming. If you're looking for singles from Temporal Forces, you can grab what you need over at deaddrawgaming.com. If you're enjoying the tabletop content here, Dead Draw Gaming's YouTube channel has even more. We also have the relaunched Dead Draw Gaming podcast, where I bring on various experts from the team every episode to help you better understand the meta. If you subscribe to their YouTube channel before the next podcast episode, you'll be entered into a Paldean Fates ETB giveaway. Dead Draw Gaming also has a new Patreon that you can join to support their content. Supporters get bonus videos, discounts on CutterTap and the Dead Draw Gaming store. Links will be in the chat. And we are also brought to you by CutterTap. CutterTap has tons and tons of Pokemon TCG articles written by extremely skilled players. Their articles cover deck analysis, matchup descriptions, rogue decks, metagame discussions, high-level theory, and so many other things. There's a really good control article that Piper put out recently covering a lot of different cool control lists for EUIC and kind of ranks them in order of what she thinks is the best play for the event. You can see Hunter kind of going over the state of some of the new builds from cards, the new builds of decks from Temporal Forces. There's a lot of cool lists in there. And on top of that, you can also see Michael Davidson, our finalist, actually has an article on post-rotation Chien-Pao and did not actually play Chien-Pao to the event, which was throwing me off earlier because I was like, oh yeah, I was talking, I don't remember which round it was, but I was like, oh yeah, now Tyler's matched up against Michael playing Chien-Pao. What is going to happen?
Right.
But it's not playing that. But is an expert on it, has played the deck a lot. So if you want to see that article and many other cool, super in-depth ones, you can check all of them out over at cuttertap.com. And thank you to both of them for sponsoring this event and making it possible. And on that note, the last thing I want to say while they're still setting up the game is we're doing a crowd-funded prize pool for the event. You can do ! Prize pool in the chat. I would really appreciate any last-minute push to try to get any donations or contributions for it, because the more that goes into it, the more reason there is to do these events, to show not only just, that there's interest in this sort of thing, but that it motivates the players to do it. It motivates more sponsors to know that there's more eyes on the and all that sort of stuff. And if you contribute any amount over $5, I will personally thank you in the finale right after this match. So please do so and support our players and support the event. So yeah, going into the next match now, Tina versus Chien-Pao. We're seeing the Chien-Pao being ran again here by Hector, and now Michael can't play the sweet Gardevoir, has to play Tina. And this matchup is I don't know.
So
I don't know how to describe it.
I think the fact that Michael doesn't run Manaphy in the Tina list
will
is
matter.
a huge difference.
Yes.
It goes from being maybe even-ish to slightly unfavorable for
Yeah.
Tina to being like quite unfavorable in my opinion. Because
and that's why it's even better that Michael won game one, because now there's if the win is taken here by Hector, then Michael can play this Giratina list against the other list, the Chien-Pao list, right? Oh, but also doesn't play or not the Chien-Pao, the Tina list, and
yes,
Tina
it'll be
Mirror.
Tina Mirror.
Yeah.
But I think we've seen Tina Mirror before, and Hector was able to pull out a win against
Hector
Edwin
very
in
experienced
Tina Mirror.
in Tina Mirror.
And I
Yep.
think part of it was that Hector does play Manaphy in his Tina list, whereas Edwin didn't. So that might end up being a factor here.
That would be an exact factor
Yes,
here as well.
If we get to that state, but we are running low on time. Already 30 minutes have been burned up from these two players, so we'll see if it gets down to the wire. Hector has to still win this one, ultra pulling away the beloved Arctivax, unfortunately, but is getting that opportunity to go first.
Ultra Balling Superior too?
Oh.
That's pretty dire. That does not sound good then for Hector. That is probably a very rough turn one
It
going
is
first
rough,
hand.
but if there is one matchup where you don't need all 4 superiors, I think it's probably this one. You can spam Greninja over and over again.
Sure.
And Michael, obviously, if Michael set up, you just don't bench more Comfy, you don't bench more Sabelye, you don't bench more Greninja targets. But if you don't get off to a good start, you need to Abyss Seeking. You need to kind of back up your Giratina with some Pokemon. You can't just let it be the lone Pokemon in play. So
Sure.
I think it might be okay for Hector here. It might be all right that the superior is getting into this card.
Yeah,
this early
is super interesting and super interesting, or super like scary, but yeah, makes sense.
The way Hector drew those two cards indicates to me that there was no Poppin, and that ends up being the case. Hector
and just instant Abyss Seeking for.
Oh, so both players kind of having not a great start.
I mean, yeah, Michael, very lucky that no Fridgebacks went down that turn. Will survive even with that start. Didn't get into any Poffins there either.
Nest Ball. Okay, so we have something here, at least for Hector, but not exactly the card you wanted. But I think it's safe. I think it's fine. I think Nest Ball for 1 Friggy is enough to play the game next turn.
Yeah. And Michael, if Michael doesn't have any better... Okay, I think there's an Artisan in hand now. So...
Artisan? Okay,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so, and it's okay to play the Artisan now because the Fridgebacks did come down.
It is okay, but you don't love giving Hector Bidoof for free.
You also don't want to just Abyss Seeking here.
Yeah, that's true.
Hector is going to pass from there.
So top deck, the situation is potentially salvageable with 1 Poffin, and there it is from Michael. Poffin going to grab Comfy, but now here's the question: do you grab 1 or 2 Comfy?
That's the scary thing. That we were talking about this with Edwin after the match too. Just how fundamentally not playing the Manaphy changes how you play the matchup, and sometimes it works out okay, sometimes it doesn't, and it puts a lot of pressure on you to not put down too many Comfy. And yeah, we're just gonna potentially just see 1 here, even though. The problem with this is now obviously getting to 4 in the loss on this turn can be tricky if you don't get that chorus.
Probably just going to Abyss Seeking again, if I had to imagine. But we see 2 gates are the top 2 prizes. That's actually really awkward too for Michael. I think if one of them was on the bottom, you're probably fine.
Sure.
But the last 2 being 2 gates, I think Michael at this point, you never expect that 2 gates are your very last 2 prizes. You never plan for that in mind. That could become an issue for sure as well.
Yeah, and without a chorus here, you can't even go for anything fun like Prime Catcher, Fridgebacks here, and it's probably just going to be, like you said, just an Abyss Seeking and chill.
1 Comfy grabbed to play around this Radiant Greninja play, to play around this Moonlight Shuriken, make it so that Hector can't take 2 prizes right off the bat. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what's in the hand. There's like a switch at least, so could get a Flower Something off before going into the Abyss Seeking if desired. Because I think if you bench the Comfy, you have to use it here, right? Like you can't not, because it will just get shurikened, but most likely. I mean, Chien-Pao could just take a Tina KO too. I guess.
It's probably fine to just bench it preemptively, I guess.
Okay, is going to switch here into that Comfy. Going to get a Flower Selecting off.
Ooh, Colress.
That is such a good get here, and yeah, that does have Kramer in hand. If Prime Catcher is found, could be pretty spicy. 2 Colress. Okay. weird hand or weird Colress. Not exactly what you want to see, but at least set for supporters for several turns now.
Yeah, and Chien-Pao has no way to get those out of the hand, so I think it's pretty valuable for Michael to grab both of them, and I think that he did. The last Colress is in the prizes, of course, so now Michael has access to the rest of the Colress for the rest of the game. Thinking about what to jet up, jetting up this Tina on the bench without any energy and going to Abyss Seeking once more. Does Hector have a response?
There's the Prime Catcher.
One
So close.
turn too late, but not going to be able to punish Hector the way we would like. Pokestop hitting the field. Hector still missing some pieces, though. We know that he hasn't played a Irida yet this game.
And probably still doesn't have one, yeah. So this might just be a either concealed. Think about it. Has to play the Iono, and that's tough because now Michael loses both of those.
Both Chorus go on the bottom of the deck. So that actually, Hector didn't know that, of course, but Hector maybe had an inkling that the hand was good because you played Chorus, you picked the best 3 out of 5, you played Abyss Seeking, you picked the best 2 out of 4. You know that Michael must have picked the best cards out of those. So you know that 5 of those cards must be good.
Especially against a deck like Chien-Pao where you know they're probably not Ionoing ever. But when that's the only supporter, gotta do what you gotta do.
So the Iono actually ends up being sneaky good for Hector, but Iono instead of Irida does mean that you aren't guaranteed to find Rare Candy Wax Caliber.
Michael did at least draw into Nest Ball immediately, so at least has some way to shuffle up the deck quickly and try to draw back into those Choruses. Hector did get some playable cards off that Iono.
But I only see a bunch of energies in the hand.
A bunch of energy.
This is really bad. I think Michael, both players are off to a slow start, but Michael doesn't mind this. You get closer to your Sabelye numbers. And if you can just start Sabelying the bench, making sure that Hector doesn't have access to those barrels, I think the game just pretty much is a wrap from that point on.
Yeah, I'm trying to think exactly what the Lawson number is for Michael. Is it 5 now? It was
Chorus plus 2 Abyss Seekings plus
so
1 Comfy.
So that's 7. Okay. So, yeah, Sabelye, really easy to do here, even though there's only 1 Comfey left in deck. Just needs to...
Well, I wouldn't say easy because the 2 Chorus
are now gone. Yes.
So Michael has a Nest Ball and a Gear, so he can Nest Ball to shuffle the deck and then Gear to potentially try and hit it.
Flower Select Gear, and then you have it, and then from there, the game is basically locked up if that Sabelye does come down, and assuming the Switchback doesn't involve right now.
Although the odds of hitting the Chorus after you Nest Ball, right now it's 0% because we know the 2 Chorus are on the bottom. But if you shuffle the deck,
just counter capture is not what you want to see.
Iron Hands being discarded, no useful cards to play this turn. Michael's smiling a little bit, breathing a sigh of relief, knowing that Iron Hands is just that much further away from coming online for Hector. But like I was saying, that if you do shuffle the deck and then play Pokegear, I don't know exactly how many cards are in Michael's deck, but I would say that the odds of hitting a Chorus are around 50%.
Sure.
So we'll have to see if...
Yeah, only 2 in there is kind of tough. Yeah.
We'll have to see if he hits the theoretical coin flip or not.
Yeah, no energy in hand to concealed either before that happens, too. So, yeah, tough situation. It's going to start with the first, which makes sense.
I like that play a lot because we know that both the Chorus are safe on the bottom.
Yeah, very, very good sequence to start off there and thin out the deck even more and get 2 useful items.
It is rare for Tina that, that Pokestop is the correct play, but Michael accurately reading the situation and knowing that, hey, everything in my deck that I care about is safe this turn. So,
man, Chien-Pao sometimes, especially last format, like to occasionally throw in the 1 of 70 HP Frigibacks.
Yes.
Just to survive scenarios like this, which is about to happen. And these are 2 60 HP Frigibacks on the bench there. So 1 Sabelye, and those 2 are toast, and the game is effectively over.
Michael trying to increase the odds of getting the Sabelye here as much as possible. Flower selecting first before the Pokegear, grabbing probably Nest Ball, unless Michael already has Sabelye access in hand.
I think already has a Nest Ball in hand, so.
Grabbing Roxanne instead for that late game potential. Right. Pokegear, there it is. A Chorus, so just need Psychic Energy and a Switch card now, or just a Gate, and both of those Frigibacks really already has a Gate.
Got it off the Pokestop.
Oh, yeah. So that'll be it. I mean, Michael can just knock out both these Frigibacks immediately off of that Sabelye, and Hector will have no response whatsoever for at least 1 turn.
Wow, yeah. Devastating way to go out on this last game here, but it's technically not over. There's the Sabelye, and then another Gate too, which definitely has to be taken here with 2 of them being prized. Let's see what Michael decides to pick here. Looks like it's going to be zoning Jet and something else.
The double Abyss Seeking ends up winning the game. And we were talking so much about how this is a bad matchup for Tina, and it usually is without the mana fee, but if Hector gets a start this bad...
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes Chien-Pao does Chien-Pao things, sometimes Tina does Tina things. Just one-sided this time around.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, actually both players did have a bad start. It's just that in this case, Michael was able to Abyss Seeking out of that bad start, whereas Hector
that's,
couldn't.
One of the biggest strengths of Tina is that sometimes it does feel like a very clunky, very weird, slow-starting deck, but Abyss Seeking can just accelerate you and make up for that so easily. There's a reason why this deck has been as strong and is just never-ending the way it has been this last couple formats.
Hector seeing the writing on the wall.
The double Giratinas hitting the bench there.
Oh, and the Tina
ready for literally anything now.
Being powered up, ready to go. Sabelye using that Lost Mine, knocking out these two Frigibacks. And Hector, without any 70 HP Frigi, there's nothing he can really do.
Right.
You can't bench Frigibacks again. Lost Mine will just happen again. So
yeah, no way to protect it. Nothing like Jirachi in the deck to try to stop it. Just a super tough situation. Discarding more cards off the Pokestop there is not what you want to see either. Does have to bench the Frigi, and then you can't even knock out the Sabelye.
There's no way to do it.
Brutal.
There's no way. And Hector already burned the hand disruption too.
Countercatcher going up on the Giratina. Hopefully he can try to buy one turn here, but there's so many switches in Michael's deck. Probably already has an out, but definitely the line to go for, and definitely worth trying, considering, this is the finals. Your tournament life is on the line here. Going to see the Cypher Maniac come down, grab any two cards here, put it on top of the deck, and we'll see what Hector decides to try to go for here. Does have Ibarra online now too, at least. At least that one did not get Lost Mine, so is able to draw some cards, see if anything can happen. There is the Mirage Gate already in Michael's hand. It is the last one, but can at least you could attack with the Giratina VSTAR, worst case, if you have literally nothing else, but you probably just want to retreat, honestly.
You see Super Rod put back in Iron Hands and two Frigibacks. We might see Hector go for that triple Frigi play.
It's happening. All right, so now Hector is technically able to get his engine online.
True. So even if Michael does attack with the Lost Mine, there will be one Frigibacks left, but I mean, giving Michael two more prizes when you've burned probably the only comeback card in your deck already can't feel good.
So yeah, triple Frigi are down, and this is something that it's actually pretty common to see in this post-rotation format, is just to slam down the triple Frigi. Ideally not this late into the game, but it's pretty common to have a start like that when you're worried about the Greninjas and the Sableyes and whatnot. So going back over to Michael's side, leading off with Chorus, I believe.
The one, it was taking off
prizes. So yeah, so still plenty of Choruses available. Just one left in deck, right?
Yeah, I think one left in deck.
Yeah, even if there's not a switch in hand. Okay, there is a switch in hand. Never mind.
Switch.
Cut me off. Is going to go into that Comfey with the Rescue Board, which is a card I don't think we talked about it all yet, but it's similar to cards of old that just give you free retreat cost. In this case, it's free because Comfey only has one retreat, so very useful to help pivot and make the most out of these Comfeys. Temple of Sinnoh coming down here for Michael, which does shut down his own Sabelye or Jet Energies, but doesn't really matter at this point. Also, I think Zone like all of them anyway.
Yeah. Gets rid of the Pokestop, which is the key here.
Yep.
Makes it a little bit more awkward for Hector in an already extremely awkward situation. Michael probably laughing a little bit that there's no Mirage Gate in hand. Yeah. Actually, two of them are in the prizes, but he still has one available, so plenty to work with in this game.
One available and already charged up Giratina V-Star, so totally fine here if a Chien-Pao does potentially come on active.
So the only way to really win for Hector is, I guess, Prime Catcher, knock out Giratina V-Star with the energy on the bench and hope that Michael doesn't have Mirage Gate, which he does, but I think you have to play for that out anyways. If you do really anything else, I don't see how Michael can even have a slim chance of losing. At this point in the game, you're so far behind, you have to play for that 1%, 0.5% chance. Sure. That's got to be the play for Hector. And
the classic Rare Candy Backs combo coming in here, so at least, an attack can finally happen. And we'll see. Just going to be Greninjaing and hoping that Tina gets stuck a little bit. And that's it.
Trying to think of all the potential outs. Iron Bundle has a fun attack that can sometimes be used in weird situations, but
This is true.
unfortunately, this effect of the attack does get erased when you switch out your Pokemon or trade out your Pokemon, so that's not really a great win condition either for Hector. Sitting at 6 prizes still. I mean, the Chien-Pao deck is the one that's supposed to be on the aggressive here, is the one supposed to be finding that early lead. Just not going to be the case in this match. Hector just not drawing what he needed. And
Ibarra coming down, Industrious Incisors, drawing
for
some
3.
cards. Drew back into the Iron Hands. Gonna throw down the Buddy Buddy Poffin. Check what else is in the deck.
So you can Ninja this turn to knock out the Sabelye and the Comfey. And there's no way for Michael to win in one turn.
Yeah,
Unless,
no 2 prizes in play.
There's no 2 prizes in play, and there's no way to get 2 prizes with the Sabelye or the Ninja. So you are safe for 1 turn at least, but then what is really the real question here.
Yeah, a lot of this just comes down to, being forced to burn that Ayano when Hector had to takes away so many odds of just trying to claw back into this game. Because Michael can just Mirage Gate an attack here, if worst case scenario. Can do, probably has plenty of switches in hand too. And yeah, has a pretty big hand built up in general. We'll see what Michael decides to do here. Going to go with the Artisan to bump his own stadium. Lets him search and also reactivates Jet if he did have a Jet in hand. Going to play the Super Rod. Probably just going to grab the Sabelye back and honestly just do it again.
Yeah, you can lose.
Okay, just getting more energies. Okay. Before the Mirage Gate activates. And yeah, it's just going to go down the Giratina attacking route.
Gate makes sense because you can attach 2 to the active Tina. You can loss on 1 from each Tina, and then you basically have checkmate. All you need is 1 more energy to win the game. So you put back as many energy as you can in case Hector has something weird like a second Iono or what have you.
Comfy going down for Michael. I believe that was just grabbed off prizes.
Interesting situation where Michael actually knows exactly what prize card he will draw if he does take one. So
yeah, even more comfortable burning the gate there.
Yes.
So yeah, just deciding to just do the Star Requiem there, totally fine.
Yep.
This 280 just knocks out everything else anyway, so didn't matter too much either way. And we're going to see that hyper-blowing Iron Bundle go into the active here.
Yeah, I think Hector is unfortunately out of win conditions, and it might just be a swift 2-0 for Michael. One of Chicago's best players, one of the best rising players.
Yeah, this is important to note. Michael was a senior, I think, last season.
Yes, last season, correct.
So literally our youngest competitor, and just dominating the competition here, doing really well with not only 2 different decks, but one that a lot of people just had no faith in. Chien-Pao coming down now for Hector, so can get the KO here at least, but then immediately gets knocked out after that. But still going to play it out to see how this ends, go out fighting. So super rotting the B-Barrel and 2 water energies. And Shiver Chill is back potentially. And I think that might have been supporter played. I'm not sure.
I learned today that Michael hasn't yet been on stream despite, numerous top 8s and
Really?
Well, he's top 8'd a ton in seniors.
Sure.
I think only 1 top 16 so far in Masters, but many day 2s.
Right. It's only been 1 season, so
yes.
I guess that makes sense.
So
yeah.
This might be a sneak peek into EUIC or NAIC or something.
Yeah.
In
Dead
the
Draw
future.
Gaming's own Michael Davidson doing fantastically here at this event. And we'll see Hector is going to super cold those energies onto the Chien-Pao.
Drawing 5 off the Industrious Incisors.
Let's
Is
see
there
what
any
happens.
way for Hector to win this game? Does he have any win condition whatsoever? Or maybe just knocking out that Tina VSTAR to make it close in the prize race? But Michael, having the attack ready to go, Hector wanting to go out on his own terms, getting a knockout before saying goodbye, doing as much damage as possible with the Chien-Pao just to flex. 5 energies. No, I think more than that. 7 energies available for Hector.
That might be
discarding all of them.
Kill you. All right,
Here's
counting them all
VSTAR.
one at a time.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Knocking out the Giratina
And that'll
VSTAR
be GG.
and shaking the hand of
We have
Michael.
Our champion, Michael Davidson.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. We'll have an interview with him in just a little bit, but Gardevoir and Tina, a weird combination
It
that
is.
kind of just dominated a lot of this format.
I think Tina has been on the rise recently in these online tournaments. You see it have over 50% win rate. It's actually the only deck online that has like a 54% win rate so
wow.
far.
That's pretty good.
So Tina is on the rise and potentially could be a sleeper pick for EUIC. But even more of a sleeper, of course, is the Gardevoir that people haven't been expecting. There's been some rumblings, people saying it's not as bad as you think it is. You should try it out. Actually, even Michael himself is not a true believer in the deck, to be honest.
We'll talk to him during the interview. I'll get his honest opinions on it. Maybe he can write up an article about Gardevoir or something. But yeah, super exciting to see that kind of rogue pick, that one of only person playing Gardevoir in this event doing super well with it and winning the whole thing. Winning a majority of that prize pool. Again, if you want to contribute anything towards that prize pool, please do so. There's still time. And I'll read off everyone who donated or contributed at least $5 after the finale. But before we do that, we're going to do a little interview with Michael in just a little bit. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back, everybody, to Chicago Clash. The finals have just concluded. We have crowned our champion, Michael Davidson from Dead Draw Gaming. Recent senior, this is your first season as a master, and you've put out incredible results this season, not just at Chicago Clash, of course, but also throughout the season, having a lot of strong day twos, and I think quite a few top 16s as well, right? Or
quite a few top 64s. But...
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So you got one top 16.
One top 16.
Yeah, I remember that one. But yeah, a lot of super strong results for someone super young is super impressive, as always. And there's a lot to talk about here because not only did you win this event, but you won it with a deck that nobody really cared about or thought highly of going into rotation, and it ended up being a really strong pick and just kind of handling a lot of the decks that people ended up choosing. So I guess now looking back on the run and everything, why do you think the Gardevoir pick turned out as well as it did?
Well, Guardy's main struggle in this format, I think, is the Charizard matchup with Vacuum and just the weakness. It really can get to you. But since I had Tina, I always had like basically a free matchup into their Zard.
Yeah.
So like because of that and Guardy having like a pretty decent matchup spread, it was able to make up for the poor Zard matchup. Sure.
And yeah, that Tina, we didn't actually see Giratina truly swamp Charizard in a lot of our stream matches today. But yeah, the Iron Leaf just kind of giving you an extra free, easy knockout whenever just seems to make that matchup super free, as you were saying. Yeah. I know. Is that kind of the main reason for picking that combo of decks? Is just being able to cover the quote unquote BDIF that you knew was going to be super popular, and just a deck that not only had that good matchup spread, but one you've been kind of comfortable with in the past.
Yeah, I definitely wanted at least one of my decks to beat Zard. I kind of wanted to play Control, but I was pretty fine not playing it. Like I did want to play Guardy. I at least wanted to use this event as decent testing.
Sure.
So I was like, I just thought Tina and Guardy had the best spread overall.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Kind of going out into the way everything went down with this event, with how all the matches went down. Is there any moment where you were really doubting your picks for this tournament?
Probably round one. I played Guardy to my first round versus Jake Gearhart, and he game one, turn one, he donks me.
Of course.
But then,
did you lose round one?
I did lose round one, but then I won. I tied my round 5, but I won the rest of my round.
Gotcha. Very cool. So EUIC, less than a week from now, you're going, right?
Yeah.
Why are you going to play Gardevoir to the event?
I can't really guarantee that I will, but definitely have to consider it more than I maybe would have before this event. It is really good still at up trading into the multi-prize matchups. You do kind of struggle into Tina and other decks that can like attack with single prizers consistently. Just because you don't have Arcana, you don't have any one prizers that can tank them back. But I definitely do have to consider it more than I would have in the past.
Sure, yeah, and I think a lot of people should consider it after how strong it performed today. Obviously, yeah, the Zard matchup, scary and all, but if your deck just does better against everything else, then it's kind of justifiable to do it. We saw a lot of picks, not this season, but last season, where people would play decks that had a bad Lugia matchup or a mediocre Lugia matchup, but beat everything else and would feel pretty confident about that list. Like Gudra is probably one of the best examples of that, and seems pretty good. So before we go transition to a break before our finale, Any shout-outs you would like to do, and where can people find you?
Shout out to my sponsor, Dead Rock Gaming. You can find me on Twitter at Allez Liverpool, ALLEZ Liverpool. And then thanks to my dad for driving me here.
And sorry for keeping him out so late. So thank you all so much. We're just going to do a short little finale after a quick little break. Stay tuned. Hi, everybody. This is the finale for Chicago Clash. Really not much more to say. I just want to make sure I have the opportunity to thank everybody and everyone can come and say hi really quickly. I want to make sure that, first of all, big thanks to Aligarta Events team for actually making this event possible. So that's Corvme, Frozen Flygon, and Akko. They did a wonderful job producing, making sure all the rounds ran on time, all that stuff. I want to do a huge shout out to Gabe Shumway, who did the judging and was our head judge for this event. It was absolutely crucial to have him. I'm very glad we were able to get him very short notice to help us out with this. And then, obviously, big shout out to Victor for doing a bunch of casting for us. Vic, how did you feel about the event overall now it's over?
Always an honor to be on the casting desk with you, Etchi, and it was really fun to see a sneak preview into what EUIC would look like. Lots of exciting decks, lots of new decks. I'm glad that it wasn't just cookie cutter stuff all the way through, seeing that Gouging Fire, seeing that Gardevoir win all the way.
That Gouging Fire went crazy hard.
It went crazy.
It was awesome.
But I do want to say, of course, we can't forget about you, Etchi. Thank you for having us, and thank you for putting this on and putting all your hours and planning this for everyone.
Yeah, enough about me. Anyways, a big shout out to Lauren, our camera operator, who is not in the room right now, but will be very shortly. I want to do a huge shout out to all of our competitors. Regardless of how well you did today, I'm very happy and very glad that you were able to participate in this. It means a lot to me. I know you could have been in a League Cup instead, but way better than a League Cup, so it's fine. Big shout out to Dead Draw Gaming and Cutter Tap, our primary sponsors for this event. This would not have been possible without their support. So thank you. And please, all of you, please support both of them. I really appreciate it. It would mean a lot to me to especially subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I'm not just saying that because I make content for their YouTube channel. And then I want to thank all of our contributors really quickly. So I'm going to ignore the one that says Etchi. We'll say Groucho Barks, thank you for the donation. Little Unknown, Sandy Beach. Is it Sandy Beach IRL? Sandy Beach IRL. Spider C, Edmund, Johnny Gonzalez, Gem Mint TCG, Shelty Sai, Nick Pixels, Isaac Rees, Thar_C1 with the massive dono. Thank you so much for supporting us and helping us reach that $1,000 prize pool goal. And then Vic also. I'm assuming this is you.
Yeah, it is me. I'm on there.
For the $10. I really appreciate it. So thank you all so much for that support. It really means a lot to me. And I think now that that's all done, we're going to have everyone come in, say hi in a quiet fashion really quickly.
Say goodbye to everyone.
And say goodbye to everybody.
Join us,
Come
team.
on in. Woo!
I found another Drifloon.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.